Hello. So today on the Fitness, Feelings and Feminism podcast, we have Nadia, who has her own podcast and was the year below me in school. So I just thought it was relevant. I still talk about things in like...
I didn't know
I could be like 60 and I'll be like, she's the year below me.
I was like, do I wave? Do I just sit here awkwardly? Do I look at the camera? I don't know.
So tell the people a bit about your podcast.
So, I've only been doing my podcast for about like 2 months, something like that.
I feel like it seems longer. I feel like I got that Instagram follow a long time ago.
Maybe it has been, but to be honest, I put the Instagram out and I was like, okay, got to do this now. And then I just went into shy mode. It was like,
shy
what
girl
do
mode.
I do? And I was just like, I kept putting it off, and then I thought, right, I need to try and post something to be like coming soon, to just make myself do it, because I know this was like off context, but when we were talking before about recording episodes and not releasing them, I'd honestly recorded about 8 episodes and not put them anywhere, and I'd wanted to do it for like, not even joking, like 2 years.
Really?
And do you know what? The only thing that was stopping me was literally my own self-doubt. Like, I could have been doing it for a long time, but I'm just like a believer in timings and stuff. But yeah, like I have always wanted to do it purely because I think, when did I make the decision? At first, I didn't know if I wanted to do YouTube, and as I've explained, I'm not a YouTube gal. I'm not made to sit and edit, like, just not for me. But
that's like a whole new world, that editing YouTube. Like, I've done the same. Like, I went to start a YouTube channel with my mate.
Yeah.
And I was doing like the editing and stuff for it, and I was like, this is horrific. Like,
yeah, honestly.
I'm no good at. I feel like I'm no longer the tech savvy girl that I once was.
No.
Like, technology's overtook me.
I'm not at all. And you know what I can't deal with? Like, I can't deal with having to put my makeup on every time I sit down and record. I mean, it's a really good thing to sit and film it, but I usually am just sat there in my pajamas, like, just doing
That's
my
how
thing.
I started off as well, though, to be fair. Like, I just bought myself a little, I was going to say microwave, but I mean microphone.
Thinking about food.
Yeah.
I'm starving.
It's a long day. I just bought myself like a little microphone off Argos, and I just used to plug it into my laptop, and that'd be me. I'd just be like,
That's literally me.
chatting away, and it was like dead therapeutic. I found it like a diary.
Honestly.
Whereas it's weird, since I've started doing it now that it's got filming, I've not done a single episode where it's just me. Because that feels a bit more...
Need to. It's more intimate.
Yeah, but I think that is exactly why I haven't. As in, I've overthought it of like, well, where would I look? Do I look directly at the camera the whole time?
No.
Do I pretend someone's sitting there? Like, what do I talk about? Whereas I used to mainly do just episodes of myself talking about a topic, and the people loved it.
Yeah, they loved it. You just need to get back to it. Do you know what puts me off doing that? Like, I don't know which way I'm going when I sit down and record.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to start crying, if I'm going to pick my nose, or like, do you know what I mean? I've got no idea. So I think to have a camera in front of me feels quite unnatural. I feel like I'll loosen up a little bit in a minute.
Yeah.
But
you seem pretty loose to me, lady.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not. You should have seen me on my way here. I didn't know where I was going. I was absolutely flapping.
Really?
And well, yeah, that's just me in a nutshell. But
we'll get on to that in a...
Yeah, you can listen
a few
to
more questions.
How much of a stress head I am. I'm sure they all want to hear. But no, like, I think even going back to why or how I started, is that what you asked me?
Yes.
How I started?
I think.
So I just really got into, I want to say self-development, but I've always been about like wanting to help other people, or, I mean, to be honest, I'm probably one of them people who can give so much advice. I can't take my own advice. But I feel like a lot of my friends have come to me before, and I can be quite good at calming people down. And I found myself, it's like so ironic because I'm like the least calm person ever. But I found myself going through a point in time like a few years ago where I was constantly worrying about where I was heading next, like what I was going to do with my career. Like, I'd come so far in like going to uni, doing my law degree, and then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It bores the shit out of me. So I was like, right,
do you still do law?
No, not at all. I work in marketing now, and it really, really suits me. But I felt like every single time I'd have a conversation with one of my friends, there'd be constantly this thing of, you know, I'm so stressed because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm heading next. And that used to be me. Like, I used to just stress all the time. And then I found like self-development work. And I know it sounds like really cringe because, like, to be honest with you, for me, it's more of like a way that I am rather than something that I continuously practice. But it's only because, like, my thinking patterns have completely changed.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to I thought there must be so many other people who were struggling with this. And there's so many people who just, they can't accept that it's absolutely okay to be at a point where you don't know where's next, because we all feel like that at this age, don't we?
I think the older that I've gotten, and I always remember my friend Emma, who was on a couple of episodes ago, I always remember her saying to me, you need to stop stressing, nobody's got the shit together. No matter how much you think someone's got the shit together, there is some element of their life that they either haven't or they don't feel like they have.
Yeah.
And I think there's like by doing your podcast yourself, it kind of creates that bit of camaraderie of we're all going through it. And I remember like I just said on an episode before actually that turning 25 for me, I completely get how...
Got a meltdown.
Yeah. But mine wasn't so much as like, where's my life going?
Yeah.
Mine was like the opposite. I was like, oh my God, my life's going.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Like, I feel like that. I mean, I still feel like that. I can sit there and, you know, tell people all the time, like, you shouldn't feel like that. But you do get the odd thought and you're like, no, I need to snap out of it, because the amount of times I'll sit there and think that, it'll take me back to when I was like, 18, 20, and I was thinking exactly the same thing, but what would I do now to go back to that? Like, you're always going to want to be younger than you are. You're always going to wish, like, I would have done this or I'd done that. But the longer that you sit there and wish for all these things, like, you could be taking action to doing it.
That is so true, actually. Like, I feel like that's some advice that I need to take myself.
I'm not a guru, don't get me wrong.
No.
Says she who waited like 2 years to go for something she really wanted to do. But I just feel like that's another thing for me where I could not kick myself up the arse to go after anything that I wanted. And it took me constantly listening to stuff like podcasts, stuff like other people to get myself going. I want to be that person for someone else, but do it in a nice way, do it in a relatable way, and do it in a way that's like, I'm actually just the same as you. I'm not somebody who's got the shit completely together, because I'm definitely not.
But that's just fear in general though, isn't it? And it's like, what probably stopped you going and doing your podcast is fear. Like, even though you might not feel physically scared of doing it because you record the episodes, it's going out your comfort zone. So everything in your brain, and this would happen to anybody, would be, your brain will be saying to you without you realising, don't do that because that's dangerous, that's going to put you at risk. So you it's about thinking about what you're thinking about. And you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said about, you know, you think back to when you're 18 and stuff like that, and it's like, if you when you catch yourself in them kind of thoughts, it's about taking action on it. Just taking that milliseconds thing, is that productive, is that going to help me, and stuff like that. And I think another one, this might be a bit off a tangent, but it just got me thinking about what we were talking about before, when you were like, oh, but what if this, what if that, like how your thoughts go. One thing that I've learned is, if a thought ever starts with what if, it's an anxious thought, and you need to, if it's not a fact, it's like differentiating the fact from the fiction. If it's what if, it's not happened, it might not happen. So why are you stressing about it?
I know. I'm honestly like, the anxious thoughts, I think it's because something that I've experienced so much, I'm definitely not going to say overcome, but because I've learned to deal with them so much better. It's like when I see somebody else, I don't want to say struggling, but everybody does have like little struggles that they'll go through in little time periods, and I think when I get to the other side of that, it feels so good, and it's like giving someone else sort of like the glimmer of hope. Like, yes, it's about like, you know, looking after yourself and your mental health and stuff, but it's also about just how can you just become aware of your thoughts. And I almost treat mine as like they're not me sometimes. Like, I'll kind of try and observe them in a way that,
well, that's mindfulness, which is the best thing you can do.
You can just sort of like think, actually, I think it's almost just like, for me, flicking a switch and just being like, okay, I'm back here now. I'm not going to let myself be absorbed by what's going on in my head. But no, I just think it's something which I just felt like for so long I needed the kind of... I'd listened to so many podcasts and I hadn't really heard someone like me who doesn't yet have it all together, or who is the same age as me. Like, I used to listen to this same woman all the time. She's like a mum, she's got kids. And I used to love listening to her, but I didn't have anything to relate.
Yeah.
And I thought, do you know what? Like, I speak to my friends enough about this. Like, I'll put it somewhere where people can choose to listen to me. And if they don't want to, they don't have to. Like, I'm not boring anyone, but like, at the same time, I just think it's nice and it's comforting. And like, that's why I love just listening to a podcast. Like, that's what literally calms me down. And I wouldn't even say it's about distraction. I think it's just about like genuinely getting to know like yourself, because sometimes you can be so wrapped up in like trying to push the thoughts away that you don't really feel them, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like I got so deep then.
That's fine. There's a place to get deep.
I can do it.
You can
as
do
long
it.
as there's no tears, then we'll be all good.
I was just looking at it. We have tissues.
It's still early. I should
I
have
can
brought
offer
my
you
own.
various plastic
I'll
plants.
just use this. We'll reach over.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. I mean, yeah, but
when did
no, I
you
just really
first
enjoy
start
it.
struggling with anxiety and stuff? Like,
God,
was it those
any of
2
my
years
friends
ago?
listening to this, obviously your friends with Holly, if Holly's listening to this, she's going to be like, her whole life. Literally, since she left the womb, she's been struggling with anxiety.
That
I don't
is exactly how Holly would phrase it as well.
Yeah, it literally is. Honestly,
Since the womb.
I just feel like I can't put a time frame on it. Like, I've always had, I think it's like self-confidence issues. I think that's genuinely what did it to me. And being in an environment where you just feel like everyone's looking at you or everyone's just judging you. And like, do you know what? You're your own worst enemy, because it's probably because like from, you know, when you see your friends like judging other people and you think, okay, that's, what if someone's judging me? And like, I'd definitely say that's where like my anxiety started, and it just carried through. Like, going through high school, I just was so anxious all the time. But do you know what? Like, I think a lot of it was like being young, not being very sure of myself. I'm still not, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I used to be. And I think it's that thing of like, the more you hold yourself back, I actually think it makes you less confident, because you don't have the belief that you can go and do the things that you want to do. And I actually say I feel more confident since starting my podcast, because I feel like I've come out of my shell. When people actually, like, you get to the point where you've put it somewhere and people compliment you on it or say something nice, it shouldn't take that to like feed your ego in a way.
Yeah.
But it does, because I feel like if you make promises to yourself that you want to do something and you're going to change things and then you don't do it, you lose confidence in yourself. You feel like you can't.
You're breaking
almost
trust with
trust
yourself. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, I feel like you're gonna have to interrupt me at some point, because I could literally talk to the cows come home. Like, you're gonna have to just
No, it makes a nice
come
change.
in
I
somewhere.
always think whenever I have guests on, and it's like your own thoughts, isn't it? Like, I just had a guest on then, and the whole time I'm there thinking, oh my God, I've asked this person on and I've not shut up. And it's like,
I was like that when I did mine though, the other week. You would have seen I uploaded one the other day, and when I was editing, I was like, oh my God, I've not shut
this
up.
girl's not got a word in her
I know, I thought
trees.
everyone's gonna think I'm such a twat. Like, seriously.
But the thing is though, like, one thing that I've learned, and this obviously doesn't mean you can just be a dickhead. Us being chatty Cathy doesn't make us
am I allowed
dickheads.
to like swear on this?
can
but
swear.
I feel we've made it clear now.
Yeah, you can swear.
I always just can't help it.
What was I going to say then? Oh, as long as, one thing that I've learned is, I can't feel anxious about myself or how I've acted if I've authentically been me, which
Yeah.
sounds really deep, because it's like, if I, sometimes, you know, what I noticed, like, the years that I probably, like, struggled with mental health the most, I wasn't acting like myself. Like, I
exactly.
almost seem unrecognisable, because, I don't know, I couldn't even tell you why I was acting how I did, but I just acted not like me. Odd.
Do you want me to tell you something? Like, I have just interrupted you,
It's
sorry.
okay.
That resonates with me so much, because do you know, when I actually think about it and I think about why I was probably so anxious to put myself out there, is because I actually believe in the fact that, like, I've been so anxious before that I've changed and adapted my personality so much around different people. I feel like everybody knew a different version of me, and then I thought, by putting myself out there, that's literally me, and like, everybody can judge it, everyone can think, oh, that doesn't sound like who I know. Do you know what I mean? So I think because of that, that was a genuine reason. Like, part of it was, I don't think anybody actually knows who I really am, except for like my friends.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm very good at putting on a front in front of people.
I just felt like I had so many different faces. Not in a two-faced way, but I felt like... And then I'd get home and, like, cringe at myself because I was like, that's not me. And I think, like, obviously, we're multifaceted. I think that's the right way to say the words. Like, we all have different faces anyway as people. Like, as humans, you do. You're not going to act the same around your school teacher as you would your boyfriend.
Yeah.
I hope not. That'd be a very big legal issue.
Controversial.
That would be a different story. But both versions are still you. You will show different sides of yourself and act in different ways. But when you're not being authentic, like you're acting in a way to people and it's not you. Like I even think back to, God, I've not even spoken about this. I think back to some of the first boot camps that I did because I was so anxious about doing them. And I wanted them to be a success, and I wanted them to... I was starting doing a podcast. We'd just come out of lockdown, and I felt like a bit of a new me. When I look back at who I was then, I really cringed. That wasn't who I am as a PT, who I am really. But I was clearly just driven off anxiety and was trying to please everybody, making myself completely miserable because I was trying to be a PT that I'm not. Because I just wanted people to stay. I wanted to be able to afford to bloody eat because I just had 2 years of earning no money because of lockdown. Yeah. So I was just putting on a show constantly, whereas now I can honestly say all my clients are perfect for me and I'm perfect for them because I'm just being myself.
Yeah, and that's the way you genuinely find the right people anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I still cringe, like certain parts of my life, like I always joke about with the girls that I play football with because we've all kind of seen each other through like important years, like from 19 to say 27 now. Them girls, they might not be like, this sounds awful, they might not be like my best friends. I don't mean to cause offence with any of that, that sounds awful, I don't mean it like that. But
sure
we've all seen really ugly sides to each other, whereas I think when it's your close friends from school, you're all kind of going through them phases at a very similar time. Yeah. Whereas the football, we're all different ages and stuff like that. So it's like I see people now and I'm like, oh, they're going through their funny phase now. Like I've been there, done that. And it does feel like a judgment free zone. But if I think back to certain times, and as well, like I used to just get pissed every weekend. I still do. Well, you see,
mine's like I think social
now.
Reasons, but it's something that
it's knowing the difference, isn't it?
I can't say no to anything. But
see, mine was I felt like I had to become like that character, like it was part of my personality. Like I was the girl that always got shit faced, and if I didn't do that, then what was I?
I didn't know that about you.
Oh my God!
This is literally so rough considering. I'm pretty sure one of the last times I seen you was like in the toilet while we were out. And I was like, Ellie, come with me. I was having like literally a mental breakdown. But
that's fine. See, I'm actually good with drunk people now because I remember thinking like when I seen you that night, I remember thinking like, God, I really hope she... Like I think I messaged her to be like,
are you okay? Because I'm concerned.
Yeah, but also because I've been that drunk girl in the toilet. I can't cope with it the next day. That's why I don't really drink as much now.
Like beer fear?
Oh my God, like crippling.
Really?
Like,
do you know what?
awful.
I think I've accepted these days that when I can just say things. I don't know though. For me, it's like that time, for example, I didn't have such bad beer fear because it was like, I think I was going through quite a lot at that point. Yeah. And like, thankfully everything's fine now. But I think I do get that when I know that I've probably just acted out of character, but I'm a very open book. So if it's like my friends and stuff, I know if I've gone out, hands down, I would have said something stupid. And I feel like it's just become, I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
it's
get
about
me
who
as
you
much.
go out with as well, isn't it? Like now when I do go out, it's with very close friends.
Yeah.
So if I do get pissed, I'm not really asked of what I've done.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I was going out and stuff, I'd kind of wake up the next day and it's not that them people weren't good friends, but because I wasn't being me. Yeah. So I just had anxiety, and I think really it was like when my mental health was my worst was when I was going out drinking the most. Really? And I think it was like a constant catch-22. I was anxious already. Alcohol makes you depressed as it is. I'd spend a couple of days with anxiety. Then the weekend had come and start feeling better by Thursday and just do it again. It's just this vicious cycle.
Do you know what? This is literally me, but I say that I don't, you know, if it was really affecting me that bad, I'd do something about it. But
Well, that's it. Mine was like I would avoid people for weeks if I'd gone for a drink with them. If
Yeah.
you'd have seen me on that night out and I was chatting to you, I could have had the most innocent conversation with you. I could have said to you like, do you remember like Miss Bevington in school? Like just something dead random.
And you
I'd wake up
would've
the next day and be like, well, I'm going to have to never see that girl again because
Oh
that
my
was
God.
mortifying. It'd really play on me.
Yeah, to be honest, I do know what you mean, because I feel like sometimes when I've had a drink, I think I'm really sober and then I'm not. Like, I'm not at all. I can convince myself. I'll be so drunk, convince myself I'm sober. And then, like, the next day I'll be like, I didn't say that. Did I
Yeah.
say that? Did I say that? But I think because I do genuinely seem to go out with just my close friends these days, I don't have that as much. But I definitely know what you mean. If I was to see somebody, I just try and pretend that it didn't happen. I just convince myself.
Yeah,
Fuck it. Can't do it. I have this thing where I'm like, if it's done, it's done. I hate dwelling
You
on
see,
stuff.
I am a big dweller. Not so
Yeah,
much now.
well, I am, but I like tell myself I'm not.
Yeah. You see, I do dwell on stuff really. Like, say even my job as a PT, like I literally train people. If I think, I will say to other clients, like I don't so much now because in work is probably the place where I'm most self-assured and most
Yeah.
confident now. But in the past, like Holly will give you a prime example. I'd literally, someone could be like acting a dickhead and I'd be like, oh, can you not do that like for the greater good of the group?
Yeah.
And then I'd say to Holly like, oh my God, did I sound really evil then?
Yeah, that's
And she was like, Ellie literally just told them to start doing the workout that they have paid
you can.
to come to do.
We are
like,
literally like, you know, I messaged you earlier and was like, didn't know you were an Aquarius. I feel like that's such a trait. And people who
Yeah.
don't believe in star signs will be like, but like genuinely, I'm exactly the same. I'll say something, I'll be like, I hope I don't come across like a bitch.
Yeah. Because
I always sat there,
sometimes-
sometimes I'll apologise for something
Yeah.
that I definitely don't need to apologise for.
literally exact same. Like as well, sometimes I think that I can be quite, I'm opinionated but open-minded. Like one thing that I've learned about myself, and it's took me ages to realise, is I am a contradiction as a person anyway. So I'm open-minded, but I'm opinionated.
Yeah.
So sometimes I can be quite black and white. So because I'm aware of that, I know that I can be like, no, that's wrong. So I'll
Yeah.
feel a need to say that's wrong, and then I instantly regret what I've done because I'm like,
know.
oh my God, it weren't for me to say, what am I doing? And it's like, Ellie, it's your job. Someone's refusing to work out, and you're just saying to them like, can you
I know, exactly.
Can you just do them squats, please?
Yeah, no, you're not doing anything wrong. It sounds so much simpler when you're looking at someone else, though. I feel like when it's you.
Oh, God,
Like,
yeah.
I literally have said stuff before and then been like, sorry, I shouldn't have said that, like, straight away. And it's like I've got 10 personalities. Maybe I do.
Patricia.
Don't, honestly. I just sometimes, like, will second guess myself so much, but I've gotten so much better at that since
I think that's all
just, like,
confidence, though.
put myself out there. Exactly.
Because it is, like, confidence, I think, goes hand in hand with trust and stuff like that. Like, if you, with your podcast now, you've done it now, so you trust in yourself more. Whereas when you constantly kept on doing it, saying you're going to do it and not doing it,
Oh my God, yeah.
you're breaking that trust, and you're lowering your confidence even more each time.
Well, exactly. Like, I was literally at that point. I remember I've been working from home, like completely working from home. It was totally remote for like 6 months. I had all these aspirations. I was actually like working for people who were like creators, like high profile people, all horrible people.
Really?
But, yeah. So that made my confidence even worse because it was like, actually, what makes them better than me when I'm the one who's like writing all this stuff? And
Why
I
were
don't
they
know.
horrible people? Or can you not say?
Just divas, but I don't know how much I can say, so I'm just gonna be quiet.
That's
I mean,
fine.
I'm not naming them, so I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, just divas.
I
And
probably
then
wouldn't know who they were anyway. Like,
it
I'm
just-
so in a rock.
Yeah, like it just makes
Under
me
a
think.
rock.
Do you have to be like horrible once you get to a certain
Well,
stage?
to be fair, I've like in the gym you kind of meet people from all walks of life, and I've
Yeah.
had some people that have like done filming or stuff like that for like shows and Love Island stuff like that, and they always say that sometimes the lower an influencer is, like, or if they're an influencer compared to like a dead high end actor,
Yeah.
sometimes the like the people straight off Love Island or content creators that are the biggest dickheads, and then you could meet like a huge celebrity and they're actually really nice.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it probably just depends on the person as well.
Why could you be asked being a dickhead?
I think it's actually like it causes you more grief to be a dick
Yeah.
than to be a nice person. and that's why I don't understand it. I don't understand people who are like purposely, you know, not willing to like want to make friends, or yeah, I don't know. I just think for me, I'd much rather just be nice. I mean, saying that, if you've seen me on a bad day, then you probably don't agree.
I
with
cannot
what I'm saying.
imagine you on a bad day.
Oh, you literally right before I step foot in
Have I
here.
caught you on a bad
You've
day?
caught me on a bad day.
Have I?
You should have seen me in work earlier. I literally was like running off the toilet, like crying, and it was purely just because I just feel like, you know, you just feel like you got loads on, and I just like, I'm one of them people like, when some people say they will like cry because they're angry, that's like me, but I just cry from anything. I cry from being happy, cry from being sad.
See, I'm not a crier at all.
Oh, I am. Like,
But then
I didn't
once
even
them
think I'd come
floodgates
in with
have
makeup
opened-
still on, to be honest.
Really?
But I think, to be honest, when I do have a bad day, I'm good at being like, okay, bad day, not a bad life.
What do you think causes your bad? What tends to cause your bad days? Is it like
Being
external stuff?
overwhelmed.
Right.
External stuff.
I think being
It's never
overwhelmed
actually
does not get
work.
spoke about enough.
No, like, I am constantly overwhelmed. To be honest, I think it's just because I'm a walking stress head. But mine is like, you know, people use the cup analogy, like, my cup for the past couple of years has been, I'm going to say like 90%. And then I'll be in work, and work's not even stressful, like, or it does get stressful, obviously, but I don't let that stress me out, because I'll be like, I can only do what I can do. But when I reach max capacity, it's like I can't speak to anyone. I was literally sat having lunch today, and people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. And I literally just had to go and take...
So what's there, just eating the sandwich, like,
I know,
okay.
no, but I was there just like, you can tell with me, right, I'm 0 or 100. Like, if I am myself, I'll be chatting away, I'll be just, you know, getting in on the joke, whatever. But if I've got something wrong with me, you can tell like that. And like, my friend was like, are you okay? You look like I'm going to kill someone. I was like, I'm not okay. And like, but that was like a few hours ago. I'm all right now. So I just, to be honest, I just have to have a word with myself and be like, get your shit together. Because
What
I
tends
think
to overwhelm you?
just, I've got a lot of stuff on. Like, it sounds so stupid saying that, 'cause to be honest,
No,
I
like,
don't know
there's
to
no-
what extent I
if
want to
some-
go into it.
Yeah, of course.
But I think I'm not very good at switching off. So if something's going on in my personal life, it will stick in my mind no matter what I'm doing. It'll always be in the back.
Yeah.
So it, like I say, it's just that my brain feels like it's got a maximum amount of space, and once it's full, it's full.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And it's like, there's no, like, set way of whatever overwhelms you. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
it doesn't matter how big, how small, how little, or anything like that it is. Like, if you're overwhelmed, you're overwhelmed. Like,
Yeah.
and no one can say to you, like, the worst thing people can do is say, oh, well, I don't think that's that stressful. Like, why don't you just do that? Or do you like people downplay your stresses?
Yeah.
Like, they're yours, and it's being overwhelmed is clearly like your mind's way of saying like something needs to give. I need to start looking after myself a little bit more, because I don't know whether this is the same kind of cup analogy, but the one that I think of is that you have a cup and a saucer, and to help other people, you obviously need to help yourself. So your cup needs to overflow to your saucer.
Yeah.
So if yours is empty because you're not looking after yourself, because you're overwhelmed and stuff like that, it's just about, obviously I'm no therapist, but like, it's about accepting it, accepting that you've got these stresses that you might not necessarily be able to change, but what can you control?
Exactly. Like,
do you really need to do that? Is that work that is there on your desk?
Yeah.
Is it life or death? If
Well,
it's not,
exactly.
chill out.
I really like to think to myself, like, do you know what's weird about me is, like, I do not get fazed by, like, there'll be certain things which, for example, like, my boyfriend will get stressed over, and he's the most chilled out person ever, and like, I won't find them stressful at all.
That is
But
me
for
and
me,
Zach to a
yeah,
million
but
percent.
for me, it's like, what stresses me is when I've got 10 things that are mounting, like, on top of each
We
other.
sound very similar. That's
We are.
me.
I think we're too similar.
Yeah, like with me and Zach, he will be like, I don't get why you... No, he doesn't actually speak like that, but he'll be like saying that he doesn't get why I'm stressed out, or he'll be like, just relax, it's fine, like, you don't need to stress, it'll sort itself. Like, he's very relaxed. And then, like, a prime example of what he'll stress about,
Yeah.
I
and
heard
you're
him, like, he spilt a cup of tea, and he literally lost his shit, and
No,
I was like, what's up with you?
completely
And I, shit you not, I'm gonna shame him here. He turned around and said, why does it always happen to me? I was like, you spilled a cup of tea. Like, it's hardly life changing.
I know. It's so mad though, isn't it? Because like mine is very much a, like, as I keep saying, like maximum capacity sort of stress. I don't let, like, for me, I think if something's been and gone, don't stress about it. If something's gone wrong, like, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but
it's okay.
If it's happened, I'm like, why carry on thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
I'm going to take that from you today and use that in my own life.
Don't hold me to it. No, I'm only joking. I genuinely am quite chilled out when it comes to like the little things, but it's just like stuff that mountains on top of one another. And I think maybe that's because, you know, in the last few years, maybe there's been such big events that have happened that little stuff doesn't faze me anymore. And maybe that's the reason why.
Yeah, I suppose it can put stuff into perspective, can't it?
Yeah, maybe that's the reason why I'm able to be a lot more like forthcoming with saying like you should do this or you should do that, because I think I'm very mindful of sounding like I know what I'm talking about when I don't. But yeah, I think I have a lot more.
But you do know what you're talking about when it comes to your own experiences, so don't take that away from yourself.
Yeah, and I think it takes a lot to actually start sharing your own experiences. Like, I've only just...
There's huge power in vulnerability, and that's something I've realised. Like,
that's why it's so hard sitting on camera while
literally
while you're crying.
I had this conversation with Chris, who does my content. He got me through a video, and I still didn't admit it properly about that I go to therapy. And I don't know why I got so weird about it. It's nothing that anyone should be ashamed of.
Exactly.
I used to really find it easy to speak about my mental health, and then all of a sudden I find it a little bit more, and there's power in vulnerability. And that's just what I'd say. That would be my advice to you, which leads me nicely to the last question, which is, what is the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh my God. Is it okay if I actually don't have an answer for that? Because I can't think of one.
No, that's fine. What would be the best advice you would give someone then?
Well, it might be that, you know, we've already spoken about this. Can it be like one word or like a bit more than that?
A bit, whatever you want.
So I definitely think...
I would like to know the advice is one word. Go!
I definitely... No, seriously, because this is what I mean, I just talk too much. I definitely think that when you're faced with a situation, like, genuinely ask yourself, like, is it going to matter to you in a couple of months, a couple of years? Because I think perspective for me is the ultimate thing that's taught me so much, because you can find something in a situation so stressful, but always tell yourself it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, it will actually always be okay, whether or not it doesn't seem like it at the time, like, it will be okay. And like, that's the one thing that has kept me going through so many difficult times, is like, okay, I'm feeling this now, but it's going to be over at some point, and I will be okay. And I always am. And like,
well, they say, don't they?
Because I have that now,
you
it feels so much better.
Survived 100% of what you've gone through.
That's the whole title of a podcast, surviving. But you have, like, you can genuinely get through anything that you, like, there's been so many things that have happened where I thought I'm never going to get through this. And then I have. The same for everybody else. You've always got through it. So remember that when you're going through a difficult time, and just remember that, like, you can literally do whatever it is that you want, because no one's better than you. Like, no one has anything
I love
more.
that saying. I think I've said it on here before, but it's like, if not you, then who? If not when? If not now, then when?
I feel like I would just cringe at myself so bad then.
Don't be daft. Stop it.
Like, I genuinely do feel like that, because that took me to be like, what actually makes the person who's achieved everything I want to achieve so special? Yeah. Because, like, they're just another person.
Oh, I feel inspired.
Just another person.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
But I need to tell myself that.
Yes.
While I'm sat there, like, I can't upload that onto my story.
Don't be daft. See, I've gone the complete opposite way. I need to remember that I have followers on Instagram. I treat that like my own personal diary, my Instagram. Like, honestly,
do you know what? I don't hold back on stuff.
I've got too comfortable on that app, honestly.
I don't remember to do it, like, because I used to hate working on social media so much. When I stopped, I was like, sack that off. And now I'm like, actually, no. If I want to put myself out there, I really need to try harder in making a presence of my socials, and I don't do that enough. No, definitely. But that is a lovely note to end on. So if you could tell people how they can listen to your podcast, where they can find it. Okay, so it's on Spotify and Apple, I believe. I'm not on YouTube
believe.
yet.
So I've heard.
Not on YouTube yet. It's at Surviving the Quarter Life Crisis, and on Instagram you can find me at STLC. No, hold on. I actually don't think that's the right one.
ST.
I should have thought about this.
Q.
before. LC.
LC.
Pod.
Yeah.
STQLC Pod.
There you go.
But thank you so much.
No, thank you for coming on. Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it.
Good,
I'm
that's the main
actually
thing.
like honoured that you asked me.
Oh,
but
of course.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Show me what it's like to be under the bright lights.
Oh yes, the bright
We love
bright
them.
lights of St. Helens.
We love them.
As always, guys, if you have any questions about anything you've seen or just want to chat in general, you can message me on Instagram at ElliishPT.